Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to an episode of Celtic Transfer Talk. Yes, Monday morning is a fresh week at Celtic Football Club and we continue our, journey really under Ange Postecoglou, but we are rapidly approaching our first Champions League qualifier. We're less than a month away now, so we need to move. We need to get signings through the door in preparation for that game. Celtic look as though they are making some advancements. We are looking at players, but who are they and when will they arrive at Celtic? Well, we're going to talk about a bit of that in today's video. Do you like that, eh? Do you like that new intro for Celtic Transfer Talk? Finally. I don't know if you like it or not. I hope you do. But look, we're here to talk about transfers, as we've already said. Celtic are being thrown about with a few names. It was nice to hear today in the papers that apparently a deal with Mario Vuskovic is getting closer. It looks as though it's near completion. I'm hoping it continues to go that way. Of course, we know these things aren't as cut dry as that. They aren't as simple. There's a lot of talking and paperwork to go through. So you can only hope for the best, really, that it doesn't collapse. But it's good to hear that. But Celtic now need to turn their attention elsewhere. This is a busy transfer window, as we know, or has to be a busy transfer window for Celtic. We're really looking for improvement all over the park. The back line especially, we're needing right backs, centre backs, left backs. Some people would say a goalkeeper too. That's just across the back line of Celtic. We really do need a lot of signings this summer. So who are Celtic looking at? Well, there has been talk of a particular right back from down in the Premier League who could be on his way to Celtic. So if you've been on social media for the past kind of 48, 24 hours, whatever, you've probably seen Celtic's name linked with Sheffield United right back George Baldock, apparently someone who Celtic have been looking at for the last couple of years. He was someone who was thought of as maybe a replacement for Mikael Lustig a couple of years ago. Nothing came of it and he remained at Sheffield United. Well, with Sheffield United being relegated into the English Championship last season, it appears that the new boss over there is looking to kind of change up the team, get some new players, maybe sell some of the guys who were part of that relegation side, and Baldock could be a part of that. Making 32 appearances for Sheffield United in the Premier League last season, it wasn't an easy campaign. If you were watching the English Premiership, you'll know that Sheffield United had the season from hell. It took them a long time to get any sort of groove. I think they were on track for records and having the worst season ever. And they managed to get a few results that took them beyond breaking that record, but Baldock was a part of that side, which has created a very mixed response to the links between him and Celtic Football Club. He's someone who ultimately was part of a team who were defensively hopeless, which is not what Celtic need, and is someone who probably would be better received if they had a better season last year. Now, I don't think that George Baldock is going to be the guy to come in and solve all the answers at Celtic, but the way that I would look at it right now is this. Celtic are in dire need of players. They're in dire need of depth. They're in dire need of quality across the back line. One thing that Baldock has as a 28 years old, is a bit of experience, which could be useful across that back line, with especially a lot of the younger guys that we have already. And with the likes of Vuskovic coming in, younger guys coming in. So the experience can help. But the way that I want to look at it is this. If we sign Baldock, right, whether we do or don't, whether you want to believe that it's a kind of realistic rumour or whatever, that's up to you. It's been reported, of course, by a few outlets now. I think mostly the Daily Record running with the story. It's in the paper today. I went to go and do the back pages today, in all honesty, and I was like, you know what, we'll just do a transfer talk. The thing that I think about it is, if we sign him, he's not going to be the only right back. He shouldn't be anyway the only right back we sign. We need more than one right back. You bring in Baldock and say he does, Baldock, sorry. If we do bring him in and say he does become our first team right back, are we really saying that the only depth behind him that we're going to have is Anthony Ralston? That makes no sense to me. We need two right backs. We don't need one, we need two. And one being Baldock works for me, I would say. I would hope for someone maybe of a bit of better quality to be ahead of him in the pecking order, but I don't see that much of an issue of him being there if he is going to be someone who brings a bit of experience. He's played the Premier League and can be used as both either a starting right back or a second choice, because we can't allow Ralston to be our second choice right back. That just can't happen. We need three. There was a point last year where we started last season with Frimpong and El Ahmed as our first two choices at right back, and then it was Ralston. We need to be in a similar scenario. We need two right backs ahead of him, in my opinion, and we need three right backs altogether at the club. And Baldock can certainly be one of them, depending on what the price is going to be like. The price tag is the only thing that becomes a bit of a bloodline in this situation. Will Celtic be forced to pay a bit more than they'd expect for a player who's just been relegated from the Premier League? Now, this isn't Jokanovic's player. The new manager, Slovasa Jokanovic, I think that's his name. This isn't his group of players. This is very much Chris Wilder's group of players he's got just now, and hence the reason he'll want to make some changes. Chris Wilder had a very tight-fitted group, a very much his group of players. I think he'll want to change that, but he's not long after signing a new contract. I think a year or 2 years ago he signed a new deal, so that could add some problems as to the price tag that, Sheffield United want or are going to slap on the player. If I was Celtic, I wouldn't be wanting to pay any more than a couple, £2-3 million for Baldock. In all honesty, I don't think that there is enough evidence there right now to say that he would be a fantastic player, a fantastic signing for Celtic. As I said, I would like him to come in and maybe be there from some depth, but we've had problems for the last year signing players for the Premier League. We signed Duffy, we signed Kenny. Both of those players were coming in with, I think, a little bit of expectation. I say a little bit with expectation, a lot of expectation to being quality players for Celtic and being automatically some of the best players in the team. We didn't get that, and those were loan deals. The risk is even bigger when you're signing a player, so they have to be cautious. They have to be careful with whatever the fee is that surrounds this player, because if we pay a few £1 million and he turns out to be a dud and follows on for the bad season that Sheffield United had last year, it becomes an even bigger issue than what it was with Duffy and what it was with Kenny. This is one that's sort of irreversible, and you struggle to capitalise on the price that you've paid. I've seen a few reports on how the player plays and a few stats and such to prove that he might not be the kind of player that we need, and it would improve our back line at the moment. The only thing I can say in response to that is keep in mind Sheffield United play a completely different brand of football. But that can go completely against signing the player. So it is one that's going to split opinion, but he is being linked with the club. I would like to see the other options before we dive in too much around Baldock. Now, to change it up a little bit from the normal format of talking about a specific player, I was reading the record this morning in preparation for a Back Pages video, and reading the article about his kind of scouting range and what he's going to do at Celtic and how he's going to look to improve the side. I was very happy reading it and looking at what he's saying about exploring different regions to bring in players at Celtic, and I think that's something as supporters we should get very excited about. Now, there was that kind of fear for, I think, a lot of people that maybe with getting Ange Postecoglou would be exclusively signing Australian players and Japanese players. That's not going to be the case. We've already seen that with the players we're linked with in signing. Vuskovic, who is Croatian, playing in the Croatian Premier League. We're now talking about Baldock there, who was playing in the English Premier League last season. I don't think that's going to be the case, is what a lot of people first expected. But I was reading the article this morning in the Daily Record by Craig Swan, and the interview with fans talking about how you look, yes, of course, at Japan, Australia and such, but South America, which has got me really excited. We've not had a great amount of players from South America at Celtic in our time. Now, we've had, Izagiri, who is more Central American, and you can go way back to maybe Rafael Scheidt and Juninho. God knows how, but I managed to forget this character. God bless. Years ago, but not in recent times have we had a lot of South Americans. Now, Ange Postecoglou had 5 Brazilian players in his side at Yokohama F. Marinos, and he managed to work with them very, very well. He won a league title at the end of the day with Yokohama Marinos. And that's without speaking a word of Japanese as well. So he's a guy who looks as though he's good at integrating different cultures into a squad, and he spoke about that in this interview. But the prospect of looking at all these different places is an exciting one, as long as we're, of course, signing the right players that have the quality to play for Celtic and what we need at the moment. To fill all these different areas with players who can bring a bit of flair would be very exciting, first of all. But we just need to be cautious in doing so, I would say, as a Celtic supporter who just wants us to go and win the league next year. Some of the quotes from the article are good though. So Ange was saying, absolutely, again, working on that side of the world in relation to Japan and Australia. You had to be fairly open-minded about where you took players from. There is some fantastic talent in Asia. There is some fantastic talent in South America. most definitely that is one of the areas that I want to focus on. But I think what will make it a good bit easier for the people working in those areas is the fact that we will have an identity and a clear idea of what kind of football we're trying to play, and that's what will narrow it down. We will search far and wide, but again, those are the kind of challenges we have. So, yeah, I like that. Of course, the brand of football is going to determine a lot of who stays at the club, first of all, but who comes into the club, because we know Ange now is got this clear vision of playing a brand of football that he's used everywhere, and that's going to come to Celtic. So, if we're signing the players that are right for that system, it can only really go well. That I want to think that way. But it'll kind of open us up as football fans and as Celtic fans to expand our kind of to give ourselves a bit of open-mindedness as to who we are signing. It also links into the reports that we were scouting a Ecuadorian centre-half, let me just get his name right, Piero Hincapi. I'm not too sure. I really feel bad when I don't get the pronunciations right, but it's not as if I know him or had really heard of him. There was talks that we were scouting him and looking to make him one of the players we brought into Celtic, very highly rated wonder kid, but apparently he's now close to a move over to Italy with Lazio, so it looks as though that's not going to happen for Celtic. But if these are the kind of players we're picking out players who are apparent wonder kids and going to offer us something a little bit different, I'm certainly excited, to say the least, as to where we head as a football club. So that'll do it. That does us today. The Celtic transfer talk. Baldock is I keep saying Baldock as if it's a duck. Baldock is the one on the lips of everyone at the moment as the next name after Vuskovic. And yeah, South American talent and Asian talent, Australian talent. We could be seeing a very kind of wide contingent of players coming into the club, and I'm looking forward to that if it is the case. But aye, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have enjoyed, make sure to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.